Good day and welcome to another edition of One-on-One with Swope Health. I am your host, Eric Wesson. Thanks so much for joining us today. Great show planned for you. Everybody does this at some point in time, and that is watching a movie. So joining us today is Kansas City's own film critic extraordinaire, Mr. Shawn Edwards. Shawn, thanks so much for joining us today.
What's up, man? What's up, fam? That's funny. It's funny you say that at some point in time everybody watches a movie because I don't trust anyone who says they don't watch movies or they don't like movies. I'm like, how? Why?
How do you give by?
Yeah, who hurt you? What movie hurt you where you don't watch movies? I don't like movies. That's like somebody said, I don't like music. You got to run. I do not trust that person.
So listen, tell us about Shawn. Born and raised in Kansas City?
Yeah, man. Grew up in Kansas City, Friendship Village, right off of 56 and Swope Parkway. Literally, a few blocks from where we're at right now. This the hood. This the neighborhood. 56 and Swope Parkway. It was weird because, at that time in the 70s, it felt like we lived in the suburbs. Because Swope Parkway used to be a beautiful boulevard, it had trees and grass, and so it was kind of like the okie doke. It's like, all right, we good. We in the suburbs, we living good, not knowing that it was a struggle, because it was a neighborhood full of single moms, what I'm saying, raising kids back when a single mother could, raise the whole neighborhood. Because, if you did something wrong, anybody could correct you. I know that's unfamiliar to people today. But no, it was cool because, it was basically an apartment complex, full of kids, man. We had a ball, man. We were always outside, either playing kickball, baseball, tackle football. We had skateboards, big wheels. Yeah, because we lived on this slope, this big old hill. You racing your big wheel down the hill, or racing the skateboards down the hill. It was a lot of fun, man. It was a great time to grow up in Kansas City. Because you really didn't have to worry about a lot. Back then kids weren't getting snatched on the regular, and you can go to school, and nobody was shooting up the school,
right.
And it was pre-crack,
right?
It was pre-crack era. The 70s was great. The 70s and a few years in the 80s was a beautiful time to be alive as a kid in Kansas City, and I enjoyed every single second. I had no regrets about my childhood whatsoever.
Not kickball with the red rubber balls.
Yeah.
Bouncing
that you stole from the school. Because I don't know where you could buy those. They only had them at schools. But for some reason, there was always one kid in the neighborhood who had one.
And how they got it out of the school, I have no idea.
Well, there was no cameras back then. It was a different world back then. It was beautiful, though, man. Growing up was beautiful. And I have to emphasize, as soon as the sun came up, we were outside, and as soon as the street lights came on, we were inside. Right. We didn't sit around playing video games or watching TV or hours on the phone. Well, number one, there were no phones. Well, there were phones, but it was one phone in your house and it was attached to a cord. And, you couldn't take that cord in your room, in your bedroom. If you talked on the phone, you had to talk in the general populated area of the living room. You couldn't have no private conversation. Then at any point, somebody could pick up the other phone and hear your conversation. Get off the phone! I'm on the phone. So it was old school, man. We socialized as kids. I know all this is unfamiliar, but it was just so much fun. We organized skate parties, and it was just a great time, man. Growing up in Kansas City was really great in the 70s.
And the candy store on Swope Parkway.
Country View. It's Country View.
No, this was about a barbershop.
Oh, you talking about the other one by Sportsman? By Sportsman. Yeah, across the street from Country View. Yep,
when
the candy store.
Home from Southeast.
Yeah, pickles,
in there,
pickles, candy, peppermint sticks, all that. Yeah, if you had $1, boy, you was
racking. Set for the whole week.
You was set for the week. You literally get you some Now Laters. Like some cinnamon bears. Like you was set. Like you was literally set for the whole week.
Bubble gum.
All of that. Yeah. The candy store. Yeah, candy store was next to the Sportsman, and Sportsman was across the street from Country View. But the Swope Parkway was beautiful, man. Right down the street from Southeast. Like, yeah, it was cool, man. It was fun. I remember we used to every summer we would go to the sports program. So we walked from Friendship Village to Southeast, be a whole group of us, and then just participate in a bunch of summer activities. I mean, like I said, you wasn't worried about getting snatched. You wasn't worried about nothing happening, man. You were able to live. It was a great time to live.
And so you got into film and movies through your mother's guidance. Right?
Yeah, well, we went to the movies like every weekend because I mean she liked movies, and there were a lot of places in Kansas City go see movies. I mean, I remember going to a movie theater. They used to have a movie theater in Brookside. It's a price chopper now, and there used to be a movie theater in the Metro Plaza off of 63rd Street. Like there were movie theaters everywhere. There were like 2 or 3 movie theaters on the plaza. There was a couple of movie theaters out by Bannister Mall. There were a lot of places to go and see movies in Kansas City, and they were all pretty close to where you live. Unlike today, where if you live in the middle of the city, you gotta drive all the way out to the suburbs to go to a multiplex or fight trying to find parking if you go to the one they have downtown. So it was a whole different setup, a whole different structure. But yeah, she went to the movies every weekend. I was like, oh, this is cool. And then my mom was a teacher, so I did the worst thing you could ever do when you have a parent that's an educator. I asked her like, how do people make movies, and she wouldn't give me the answer, but she took me to the library. So we ended up going to the Plaza Library. So I checked out a bunch of books on how movies were made and just kind of like read up on everything. So I definitely self-taught. Then I figured out I need to get my hands on the camera, and I ended up buying a 8mm camera at Crick's Camera Shop in Brookside, right across the street from where Price Chopper's at right now.
Really?
I think it's the Red Door Restaurant right now or something. But yeah, there was a camera store there.
Right.
Because you got to remember back in the day when people took pictures, you had to take that film out of your camera, then take it to a camera place to get it developed. A couple weeks later, then you see what your pictures look like. Wasn't none of this. You take a picture now and see it, and you don't like it, and you take another one, you don't like it.
Delete it.
What you shot is what you got. Which is why when sometimes you got film, you take 30 pictures, only one be good. That's like when people are asking, like, could you tell people stories about when you were a kid back in the day? And they're like, well, you got photos? I'm like, probably not. Because we didn't live in a world where you went to dinner. Like, you didn't go to dinner with your family back in the 70s and everybody said, hold up a minute, let me take a picture of this food. He'd be on family vacation. Hold up a minute, let me take a picture of my knees on the beach. We didn't do that. We lived. Like, you lived the moment. So it wasn't a lot of documentation when it comes to photos from back in the day. But yeah, I went to the Crick's Camera Store and got me a Super 8mm camera and went crazy, just trying to shoot all different kinds of things, tell different types of stories. Because you back then we weren't afraid to experiment. It's trial and error. Like, how does this work? How you make this happen? How you make this scene do this? How you make, whatever. You just had to, because they wasn't teaching it in school. It wasn't. You couldn't Google or YouTube like how to make a movie. You had to actually learn, and everything was super practical.
So, from there, Morehouse.
Nah, you gotta go back. So from there. First of all, I had to get my hustle game going. That's how I got the camera in the first place. So I had an aunt and uncle that lived in Kansas City, Kansas, and so like they would always, they lived in a fairly large house, and they would always have get-togethers every weekend. Like, people would come over, eat food, drink, have fun. So they would have a lot of like beer cans and soda cans, and so I was like, let me have them cans. I'm talking about a lot. They entertained a lot. So like at the end of each month, I'd have like 2 or 3 trash bags of aluminum cans. Okay. So then you take it to the recycling place, because my uncle had a truck. We get in this truck, take the cans to the recycling place, get about 15,
so you
20.
Was really hustling.
Yeah, get about 15, 20, 15, 20, a couple times $30 at the most. But back in the early 80s, $30 was like, yeah. I remember my mom got mad at me for, I think it was for the first day of school in the 8th grade. I wanted these Nikes. They were called Bermuda Nikes, and they had them at the Foot Locker in Seville Square. and my mom went nuts because they cost like $36. Like that was a lot of money for
Right.
that was a lot of money for. She's like $36 for some shoes. I was like, I gotta have these. But so I just want to put in context how much $30, because the top line pair of sneakers, that's the equivalent of a pair of Jordans back in the day, was like $36. So I would get this money from the aluminum cans. That's what I used to buy the camera and buy some film and start shooting. So as I did that, I soon discovered that, because I went to Lincoln Middle School. Lincoln Middle School did have a television production class. Miss Simon, Miriam Simon, was the teacher for that class. And then I had a really cool creative writing class at Lincoln Middle School. So I would write these stories and I would figure out how to flip them into movies. And because I had that television class, I was learning, different techniques from what I learned from reading books. And so then I started actually shooting movies for real. And so then when I got to high school, they call it Lincoln College Prep now, but it was Lincoln Academy when I went there. And so when I went to Lincoln Academy, they had another television class because American Cablevision, which is now Spectrum, has gone through some corporate changes. But American Cablevision was located on 12th and Olive.
Okay.
And so the class
Right,
would take, you walk down the hill from Lincoln over to 12th and Olive, and the class would actually be at American Cablevision. And so that's when I started learning all the tricks and the techniques of TV production. And then we would have access, because it was a community television station, which, they don't really have anymore. But we had access to all the cameras and lights and all that. So that's when we really upped our game. And then, back then, man, I had to go to church every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. But on Saturdays, we would have a youth group, and then we would have choir rehearsal at St. James United Methodist. But then the third hour was the NAACP youth group. And I discovered I didn't want to do none of this. I hated going to church for youth group. I hated singing in the choir. And I hated going to the NAACP stuff.
But you were sang in the choir?
Man, I was standing in the choir. I was standing in the back row, lip syncing. I was standing in the back row, lip syncing. Yeah, Miss Pat Brown Dixon was the choir director.
Oh, man.
I was lip syncing. But I found out through the NAACP, they had this competition, this academic competition called ACT-SO. ACT-SO. I forgot what it stood for. But they had this competition, and so it was 24 different categories, and the very last category was filmmaking. So I was like, oh, okay, now I got a reason to exist. So I would enter in that. I entered in that each year, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, and it worked kind of like the Olympics. You would have to come in first, second, and third in the city competition. Then they had a state competition, first, second, and third. And if you came in first, second, and third in the state competition, you got to go to the national NAACP convention, because ACT-SO would be a couple of days before the actual national NAACP convention. So I remember the first year was in New Orleans. The second year was here in Kansas City. The third year it was in Baltimore, and the fourth year was in Dallas. And so I would compete each year and actually won nationals a couple of times. And so then that's when it really sank in that, oh man, this is something I want to do, because I was shooting all these different crazy little movies, and some of them would win, and you would win scholarship money. So by the time I did accept my offer to go to Morehouse, and the reason why I said accept my offer is because I got a half academic, half athletic scholarship. So I play football at Morehouse, and so I know it's kind of like a weird, people that always throws people off. It's because when you hear stories about a kid making all these little weird films and stuff like that, but is also good at sports, it kind of people ooh, that's not really 2 + 2 = 4. But for my situation, it did. Okay. So he's I was a killer on the football field, but then I'd go home and be get the little camera and do all this weird stuff and make films. But that football scholarship helped. So I had 4 choices. I had 4 offers. I had an offer from the one that I took, Morehouse, and I had an offer from Howard. I had an offer from University of Missouri. I was like, hell no. I was like, hell no, I'm trying to get out of Missouri. There's no way I'm going to college in Columbia, Missouri. Plus Columbia's too, because I'm a big city kid. I'm a big city. I was like, hell no, I'm not going to college, University of Missouri. And then I had an offer from UCLA. But I was like, ooh, I don't know about playing no D1 football. That's for real. And so the choice was between Morehouse and Howard. And so I chose Morehouse because I thought the weather would be better in Atlanta. And so that's sometimes decisions are made off the craziest things, but it was the weather. 'Cause I had been to DC before on family vacation. I had never been to Atlanta in my life because people wasn't going to Atlanta like that in 1986. Like Atlanta hadn't popped off. I was actually in Atlanta as the pop off was starting to happen. But in 1986, like Atlanta was known more as a civil rights town. Like it's like Martin Luther King and Maynard Jackson and you know all those different types of people. So you really wasn't going down to Atlanta for the party aesthetic. Not yet. It was building, but in '86, it was still very much a civil rights town. And so I went. I had never. The very first time I went to Atlanta was the first day I showed up for school for the first day of football practice. It was hot because it was hot, man. Because it was the end of July, early August. All I know is it was hot. I was like, woo. I was like, what we doing? What we doing? And you gotta remember, 1986 was pre-Olympic Atlanta, so it didn't look the way it looks now. It looked like a civil rights town, especially in the neighborhood that Morehouse was located. But then I discovered that Spike Lee went there, and so I had some of Spike Lee's same teachers, and we watched some of Spike Lee's student films, and so that kind of accelerated everything.
Okay,
so but it was good though. Atlanta was good. It might have been too good.
Yeah, Atlanta was good.
Atlanta got crazy, man. Atlanta got real crazy. Yeah, Atlanta was great.
So you've been a film critic for over 20 years.
Long time. Yeah, because I technically, so I've been on Fox 4 for 25, but before that, if you do the math backwards, so I've been at Fox for 25, then I worked at the Pitch 5 years before that, and then I would write like movie reviews for the Kansas City Globe, and then I wrote some movie reviews for the Morehouse College newspaper too. So I've been like writing movie reviews since 1986.
Really?
Yeah. I wrote movie reviews, music reviews, all that. Because I discovered early on when I was in college that like if you like writing for the Morehouse paper, and I also wrote for the Clark Atlanta University paper too, because they're all right there. I mean, I discovered that if you want to write a movie review, they give you free tickets to see the movie. If you want to do a concert review, they give you free tickets to go to the concert. And if you want to write a music review, they give you free CDs. So I discovered that early. So I was going to concerts in Atlanta, free movies, getting free music, from the jump, because I was writing for the school papers.
And so now you've done that with Fox. You've moved up. Now you're in the next phase, the next chapter, Boone Theater. Your movie Film Critic Association. Tell us about those things, because you have an awards ceremony for the last couple of years. Yeah,
8 years. 8 years. So So what I did was I always like to use use my platform to do other things. So that being on Fox 4 has been a tremendous door opener. Because it afforded me the ability, because of what I do on Fox 4, I'm flying back and forth to LA. I'm flying back and forth to New York. So I never wasted those trips, because I figure if you're going to get flown somewhere, you got to take advantage. So every time I would, go to LA, every time I would go to New York, I do what I needed to do for Fox, so so I can do my reviews, so people can see Chat with the Stars, where I interview people that are in the movies and people who make the movies. But while I was in New York and LA, I was always finding a way to call meetings or meet people or sit down and network and kind of figure out what the next move is going to be, because I knew I couldn't do none of that here in Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City's a lovely town, but Kansas City is not an entertainment town at all. Look. They can tell you this stuff. People can tell you stuff all they want. Oh my God, Kansas City, like the filmmaking community generated $24 million. Oh yeah, that's all well and good, but none of that would have happened if it didn't get started out in LA. Like let's keep it real. So I wanted to take advantage of going back and forth between Kansas City, LA, and Kansas City, New York. So I built up all these different contacts. And so one of the things that a partner and I did early back in 2003 is we started the African American Film Critics Association, because all these different groups have these associations of film critics, but there really wasn't one for black film critics, and that was sorely needed, because at one point I was a part of the Kansas City Film Critics Circle, and it was the worst experience of my life, because when you're the only person in the room, sometimes it can be a really horrible situation, and like that situation was so bad, I don't even fool with that organization to this day. Because they were like mad disrespectful. Like, number one, it's like, okay, I'm on Fox 4 doing movie reviews. Like, so look, that's the most high profile position in the city, because you dealing with these guys who are working, like, well, Robert Butler was at the Kansas City Star, so the Major Daily, like, props for that. So it's probably like Robert Butler and myself, like, you got Robert Butler, Kansas City Star, Shawn Edwards, Fox 4 News, and then the rest of these members were like, you know, they weren't legit, and then, you know, they trying to, you know, give people hard SIs. Like, man, I'm not, because I'm like, man, when it comes to disrespect, man, I got like 1.5 seconds and I'm out. Like, I'm not going, like, especially when you know you're doing the right thing. I'm like, yo, y'all crazy, y'all tripping. So I'm like, I'm not gonna deal with this. Like, I literally went into Tyler Perry mode because Tyler Perry, you know, he's famous for saying, look, quit begging white folks for stuff. Like, build your own table. Create your own situation. So built my own table, created my own situation with Gil Robertson. We started the African American Film Critics Association, and then that's where things like kind of like took off. And so yeah, this celebration of Black Cinema and Television event, it is actually an extension of Kansas City, because we did the celebration of Black film beginning in 2006. We did like 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, but you know, nobody in Kansas City really like
caught on to it. Yeah.
Well, nah, they didn't support. They you know, that's the funny thing about Kansas City is, like, you know, they kick and scream, but you know, when stuff's right there, you know, they're really slow to support. And so, you know, we had the blueprint. It was dope, but we couldn't sustain it in Kansas City. So I changed the name for legal purposes. And then we started doing it in Los Angeles back in 2014, and now we're on year 8. It's a real cool show, because you know, we get a chance to like really honor a lot of the Black filmmakers and creatives that sometimes don't get a lot of recognition from mainstream or from the, you know, the Academy when it comes time for Oscars. And so the show is dope. The show is televised. The show is growing. Like, the show this year was like incredible. It's televised. You can even watch it now. It's streaming on Stars if you have Stars. I think it aired the other day on WDAF Fox 4, but it airs nationally and streams nationally. It's a really good show. But yeah, I produce that each year. Looking forward to year number 9. So
yeah, I'm looking to one year go out there.
You gotta go out there, boy.
Be a part of it. Just
man,
hang out, man.
Yeah. It's an incredible experience. Like, it's like, because I mean, this year's show was like, I mean, we had like Ryan Coogler, Spike Lee, Michael B. Jordan, you know, like that whole entire cast, the Sinners. I mean, it was like, man, Tessa Thompson, you know, Sterling K. Brown. It was an incredible night. But the show's a lot of fun to watch too. It's a really, 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 really dope show.
Do you write the script for the show?
Oh yeah, 100%. Okay. Yeah. That's writing is like the genesis. I ain't never stop. I never stop writing. Plus, if you write the show, you get another check.
Oh, okay. that part.
No, because you get. Yeah, that's why. Because it's a legit show. So there's rules. So I get a check for writing the show. I get a check for producing the show, and I get a check for creating the show.
Okay.
So yeah, that's pretty good. For everybody out here
3
listening,
paychecks are always better than 2.
3 are better than 2, and 2's better than 1, and 1's better than none. And you know,
exactly.
and it's my IP. Like, so, you know, that's what when you create something, you know, you want to make sure that you got all your legals like taken care of, but if you create something that goes on and on and on, it could be very beneficial.
So let's go back to Kansas City and film, because you brought up a real interesting point.
What was that point?
Because that Kansas City's really not a film town. They
not at
like
all.
24 million. You got the mayor talking about Hallmark making movies here, and they doing all of this. Is this now a hub for movies?
No. Because there's no effort. No, I mean, come on. I mean, those who don't know, you can tell them anything and they'll believe it. Those who know are sitting back in the cut like, yo, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Look. I respect Quentin Lucas. I respect the film office. Mm-hmm. But I'm not scared of Quentin Lucas. I'm not scared of the film office. And the way that they are running the film office is BS. Mm-hmm. And the stuff that they throw out there. I mean, it's like the same with the World Cup. They're telling people stuff that's flat out not true. Like, yes, there have been productions that have filmed in Kansas City. Like Ted Lasso came. That's great.
Okay.
Hallmark shot some stuff that's great.
How much did they really shoot here, though?
That's number one. That's that, and I don't know because I haven't. I'm not privy to their production schedules and their scripts, so I don't know what percentage of the Ted Lasso episodes were filmed in Kansas City. But Ted Lasso coming to shoot in Kansas City is good. Mm-hmm. But that primarily happened because Jason Sudeikis is from Kansas City. Mm-hmm. It's not like you have throngs of people looking at Kansas City to film that don't have a connection to Kansas City. That's when it matters.
Okay. When
it matters is when you have people who have no connection to the city saying, hey, this is a great place to shoot. This is a great production hub. But there's no infrastructure here. Like, there are no sound stages here. Mm-hmm. Like, there just aren't. So until you have the complete infrastructure, like Atlanta has the complete infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Albuquerque, New Mexico has the complete, infrastructure. There are cities that are comparable to the size of a city like Kansas City that have the infrastructure. We don't have the infrastructure here, and I just wish people would tell the accurate story and say, look, it's cool that these productions are filmed here, but Kansas City is not a production town. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's just not.
So you think it'll be more of a light shine on Kansas City when you open the Boone Theater, and what the plans you have for that? And what about what's going on down at the Black Archives? Even though Black History Month and this will run longer than Black History Month.
Right.
Tell us about those two projects.
Well, I'll start first because it's the immediate. So what we're doing at the Black Archives of Mid-America is I did an exhibit to sort of celebrate 25 years on Fox 4 News. So it's an exhibit that kind of goes through my career, what I've done in my career, and sheds a little light on, my personal situation, growing up in Kansas City, making movies as a kid, and going to Morehouse and all those things, yada yada yada. And it also gives people a glimpse of what the Black Movie Hall of Fame will look like once the construction at the Boone Theater is complete. Because we wanted to do something big for Black History Month at the Boone, but that because of some construction delays, it just wasn't ready. Which is that's fine. We knew that was a possibility, so that's not that's nothing unfortunate. But the exhibit's free. It also has a free companion book, and we want to encourage people to go down. Number one, just go down and visit the Black Archives because it's a very important institution when it comes to documenting the history of Kansas City. And I say history, not just Black history, because all of it is just history in general. And then once the Boone Theater is completed, it will house the Black Movie Hall of Fame, and we hope that it draws people to Kansas City, but more importantly, we think that by including the Black Movie Hall of Fame, it makes the 18th and Vine Historic Jazz District a really important destination when it comes to the history of the United States of America, because now you'll have the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, the American Jazz Museum, and the Black Movie Hall of Fame. I can't think of another city that has that amount of richness when it comes to Black history all in one location. Okay. Like you do have the African American Museum in Washington D.C. and we know that's the top of the top. Like and that's to be respected because they're covering the totality of the Black experience in America, and it's a fabulous. That's absolutely the pinnacle. No, that's like. Everybody on the planet should go and visit that. And I think if you go and visit that museum, you'll understand the silliness of, so-called people trying to either rewrite history, erase history, whatever they're trying to do right now, which is totally absurd. But we just want to, represent the, that the richness of that area by adding that third and final component that tells the complete story of the history when it comes to Black people in Kansas City.
Top 5 movies of all time.
Nah, there's no such thing. I mean, there's no such thing.
You got to put my movie on your list, though.
Well, we did. So what I did, I wanted to be fair because I reached out to more than 40 Black film critics around the world, and we all voted. And you can see the top 100. If you go to blackmoviehalloffame.com, you can see the top 100 there. I'll leave it at that so people can go and explore. Okay. But I can give you my personal. I'm not.
What's your personal?
I mean, my personal. I mean, if you're talking Black film, everything starts with Do the Right Thing. Spike Lee's 1989 classic. I mean, you start with Do the Right Thing, and then you can branch out. But I mean, there's comedies, there's romantic movies, there's a lot in the canon. I mean, there's so many different types of black film, and that's why we want that's what we want the Black Movie Hall of Fame to do, is expose people, because a lot of people don't realize just black film is massive. Yeah, oh man, black film is massive, but black film's also global, because you got a black film movement that existed in France. You got there are black films being produced every single day in Nigeria.
And I'm loving some of those movies on Netflix.
Yeah,
from
Netflix
Nigeria. Those are some good movies.
Good movies.
Good
great
plots,
movies.
Great
yes.
acting.
Dope. Nah, that's one thing I do love about Netflix. People like to give Netflix a hard time. I'm like, nah, because people are like, there's nothing to watch on Netflix. I'm like, wait a minute. Netflix done a great job of bringing over African content. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I love about that is these movies show that you have cities in Africa that are better looking and cooler than a Kansas City, because a lot of people's perception of Africa are people with spears living in a hut, and that's like a tiny percentage.
Right.
Africa, number one, most people don't understand Africa is a continent.
Right.
There are more than 40 countries on that continent, and they all have various and different types of cultures and ethnicities and style and range, and this what those movies that they're coming out of the continent that Netflix has put on their platform demonstrate that. Like, oh, wait a minute, they got I dare anybody to tell me
binge watch
like Kansas City has there are better hotels in Nigeria than Kansas City's never had. There's hotels that make the Lowe's look like a Holiday Inn off the highway.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just like it gets ridiculous. These narratives that are created, and that's the job of the Black Movie Hall of Fame. To debunk a lot of these narratives and stereotypes that people have, because so many people have not traveled. So that helps. Like movies help. Movies help people travel without getting on a plane.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But can you put my favorite?
What's your
comedy
favorite
movie
Which one?
of all time?
What? Which one?
Harlem Nights.
Harlem Nights is a good movie. I don't know if it's a great movie. It's a good movie because if you here's
Red Fox with the glasses.
I know
at
it's
the
a good
crab
movie.
table.
It's a good movie, but the
classic.
problem with Harlem Nights is you have both Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, who are the leads in the movie.
Right.
They both have a whole bunch more movies that are better than Harlem Nights. Because when you talk about Eddie Murphy, you can go about 6 movies in before you get to Harlem Nights. You talk about Richard Pryor, you go about 4 or 5 movies in before you get to Harlem Nights.
But that's the first time you've had them all there together.
Yeah.
Red Fox, Della Reese.
It's definitely it's a classic, but it doesn't make the 100. Well, if you go and look
I know it don't make the 100.
But here's what I tell people all the time when they get mad at the list. If you look at that 100 best black movies list, and one of your movies is missing, then I say you gotta take one off. And why are you taking that one off and putting that one in? Because the 100 seems like a lot, but when you look at that list, you're like, ooh. Because every movie that's on there is justified. So you got to figure out, to replace something, you got to take something off. Like what movie? So you like Harlem Nights? Like what Eddie Murphy movie are you taking off that list? Because you can't take Coming to America off the list.
Right, you can't. Coming to America 2, you might can kind of.
Oh, Coming to America 2 ain't even in consideration. We gave Eddie a pass for.
Yeah, he got to get a pass.
He's been great for so long. Eddie Murphy got a pass on Coming. They should it was no need to do. Who asked for Coming to America 2? There was no need.
Somebody needed some money.
Coming to America. Well, they made a lot of money on that movie too.
I know.
Coming to America was like the perfect story. You already had the perfect. You already knew how it ended.
Right,
They lived happily ever after. You don't need to do
why
2.
tamper with it?
You don't need to do 2.
Yeah.
It's like doing Boomerang 2. There's no need to do 2.
I think I took one of those Beverly Hills Cops off.
Well, you take all of them off except for the first one.
The first one, I left that one on.
The first one's amazing, and it was the highest grossing movie of the year that it came out.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop is wow. Beverly Hills Cop's legit, but the rest of them are just fun. Beverly Hills Cop's legit. But no, Eddie Murphy's got so many great movies. But see, there's a lot of Richard Pryor movies people haven't seen.
Really?
Like how many people walk around and sing "Which Way Is Up" on the big screen?
Oh yeah, I have. Well, I don't know about
on the big screen.
No,
Uncut.
Yeah.
Because if you see anything, any movie you watch on television has been modified and edited. You got to watch stuff
uncut.
Uncut on the big screen.
Uncut version.
Yeah, at the Boone. Yeah. Oh man, we're gonna go crazy.
Night, man, that's got to be open at night.
I mean, well, we did a survey. We did a survey on what the first movie people wanted to see.
Which
that we
one
showed.
is leading?
Malcolm X is in first place so far.
Yeah.
It's Malcolm X in first place, Black Panther in second place.
Really?
Ray in third place, and Sinners in fourth.
I saw that on your Facebook.
Yeah. Malcolm X is in first place by.
Nights in there just.
But we're gonna do some fun stuff. We're definitely gonna have an uncut adults only night because there's some films that need to be shown on the big screen uncut, but it's for adult eyes only. Like I don't think a lot of people have ever seen the uncut Which Way Is Up. I don't think a lot of people have ever seen the uncut The Mac. The uncut Superfly. Yeah. There's some movies that either never get played on television or when they do appear on television, they're so cut up. Like you got a whole generation of people grew up who've never seen What's Love Got to Do with It uncut, uncut, or like you forget. So I was like, I've been doing this so long, man. You forget. I was talking to a group of people. Like the Harry Potter movies are now considered old school. So, stuff like, blaxploitation stuff going way back, man. People have never, you got generations of people who've never seen some of this stuff. Like, how many people have seen Car Wash on the big screen? Which is a great movie. It was a Richard Pryor is great in that movie. That's a great, Car Wash is a great movie. But there's so many movies. There's even like movies like Fame. How many people have seen Fame uncut? Like there's a lot of movies people never seen uncut and or the big screen. Like even when I did that survey, people were commenting, I've never seen Malcolm X, let alone Malcolm X on the big screen. Malcolm X on the big screen is way more impactful than Malcolm X on TV.
Really?
Because what would the way Spike? It's like, can you like watching those speeches, Denzel in full Malcolm X mode on TV is kind of like but if you see that on the big screen, you're like, oh. Like it's just way more impactful. Like how many people have ever seen the uncut version of Lady Sings the Blues? Like, and it's different watching at home than watching in the movie theater. Because when you watch in the movie theater, you got to just watch. You got to pay attention. When you're at home, you're doing stuff, you pausing, and the movie doesn't have the same effect. Movies are designed to have this effect. Like they pull you in and suck you in. That's why they on a big screen. That's why we're gonna have a lot of fun at the Boone Theater. That's primarily what we're gonna do most at the Boone is show movies. Like that's what I'm more excited about than anything. Is just show a bunch of movies.
When can we look for the Boone Theater to be open?
Man, what's that? What was that? Who was that lady that used to be on TV? Cleo? I got to call Cleo. I got to call Miss Cleo. Rub that, what is that, a ball? Magic crystal ball? Magic ball?
At the cards
look at some tarot cards. I don't know. I'm not a construction expert. I don't know. It'll be open. And I'm not going to use that asinine phrase, it'll be done by World Cup. Because we don't care about World Cup. We're trying to exist beyond World Cup. Like I'm not putting all my eggs in a World Cup basket. Because, that's
Well, give us a teaser or something at the Gym Theater for the last 2 weeks of Black History Month. Get us
go to the exhibit, man. Just go to the exhibit at the Black Archive. The exhibit's dope. The exhibit's fun. And then on Saturday, February 28th, I'm doing a talk back, which is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to be talking about my career, my personal life, and I'm going to be sharing some of my all-time favorite movie scenes, which will be a lot of fun. And then there'll be a Q&A after. And it's free wine and champagne and beer. So, yeah. I've been going to L.A. too. I've been to too many premieres. You don't pay for drinks at premieres. From this point on, I will never throw an event and ever charge anybody for liquor. That's not how you do it. Like that's the best part of the whole Hollywood experience is you never have to pay for food and drinks.
Okay, I gotta squeeze in one more.
All right, do it. Squeeze in one more.
Sarah Richter.
Oh yeah.
How did that? You had the premiere here.
Yeah.
So we're tied to that. But that was a great movie.
It was a superb movie and an important movie because I can't think of like the last movie I recall seeing a young black girl demonstrated with so much positivity and intelligence, maybe Akilah in the Bee.
Yeah, she played that part.
Yeah, no, it was, and it's so important. Yeah, man, it was. the way they did it was so important to show how. Because look, here's the thing: I could never imagine living in Sarah Rector's shoes, because people forget the context of when this story happened. Like, I can't imagine being an 11-year-old girl worth millions of dollars in the 1920s, knowing what was going on in 1920. I don't even know how she slept at night. Because how are you? So you're exponentially worth more money than everybody, black or white, that lived in Kansas City at that time. Because you got to remember, $1 million.
Yeah.
$1 million in the 1920s is like the equivalent of about 20 million now, and you add several millions of dollars. But everybody knew your name. Everybody knew what you looked like. Everybody knew where you lived. Like, how were your kids not getting kidnapped? How was your house not getting broken into? How were you not being blackmailed? Like, I don't know how she lived through that experience with that amount of money and that amount of fame during that era, like, of segregation and Jim Crow and blatant racism. Like, how, and she was a black woman.
Yeah.
Like, and the movie only deals with her at 11 years old. The movie that I want to see now is, you know, her life as an adult, because it had to be. I mean, it had to be crazy. Like, and I've heard stories because I'm related. She's my great aunt, and so on my father's side, so I've heard some stories, but it definitely needs to be a, you know, Sarah's Oil Part 2.
Yeah.
For real, because that's the good stuff. The good stuff's when she's an adult. Because like, how do you even get married? How do you know this person's marrying you because they love you, or they trying to get at your assets?
Money, yeah.
I don't know how she did it. Yeah. That's probably why she didn't live that long, because the stress eats at you. You know, so there was no way she was going to live to be an old woman. It was just too much stress.
I guess, Shawn, thanks so much.
Nah, this is cool, man. I love it. Boone Theater. A Black Movie Hall of Fame is gonna open in 2026. Don't get me wrong. It's gonna open in 2026, and we're gonna have the big gala February 27th. 2027. So we're gonna do big things, but you know, if you want to support, go to the blackmoviehalloffame.com or come to the event on Saturday, February 28th. And you know, if you can't support financially, just tell somebody about it. I mean, that's the best way to do it. I hope Kansas City's ready to embrace it. So we're ready to show Kansas City some cinematic love, and hopefully we get some hugs back.
And Kansas City, show Shawn some love.
Please.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. Oh, man. Friendship Village, baby. Friendship Village, man. If you're watching and you grew up in Friendship Village, you know. Man, I was the best.
You already know.
The best, man. Skate parties in the basement. Woo.
Yeah, in the basement.
So it was an apartment complex. So the basements were underneath, that's where the washer and dryers were, but it was continuous. There was no barriers, so and it was a smooth surface because it's the foundation. So it's perfect for skating. get a
the washers and dryers.
No, we would get it. Yeah, well, the washer and dryers were against the wall, so it was mad space. Open, and you get a boom box.
Okay.
And then we would block the door and charge people $0.25 to come down and skate. I've always been hustling.
That's hustling.
No. 25 cents to skate? Come
on now. You can't.
Because back then, everybody got a pair of skates for Christmas.
Yeah. So, yeah.
25 cents all day skate with all the hits playing. Houdini in the background.
Okay. As always, I've got the greatest viewing audience in the world. Till next week, remember, tough times don't last, tough people do. Until next time, peace.